Hello, hello, and welcome to the Life Unleashed Show. I'm your host, Kat Spangler.
And I'm Giovanni.
My best friend and my awesome client. And don't mind her, she's a little tired today.
I'm a little tired.
Which is a little bit perfect since today we are talking all about energy and how to get your energy up if you feel like this is a little disconnected from her, but if you feel like you're getting the right amount of sleep. Because yes, if you're not getting your 7 to 8 hours of sleep, that is step number one. But what happens if you are getting those 8 hours of sleep and you are still feeling lethargic, you are dragging ass through the day? But why don't you just give them a little bit of background of why you are so very exhausted
I'm so
right now.
tired. Well, so as some of you know, I'm an actor, but I also do some directing. And last week I had 2 12-hour days during the day and then 3 12-hour nights plus a shoot where I was an actor. So there was a day that, like a 24-hour period where I got 2 hours of sleep, which in a weird way is kind of a victory for me because I was the type of person that could never do overnight anything or function on that little sleep ever.
Yeah.
So I kind of saw it as a win when I didn't die after just having 2 hours of sleep.
That's fair.
Yeah, because I was like, I've never been able to do this. This is what normal feels like. So,
and not to mention, I got the text from her that made me real happy. After like the first couple of days of it, she's like, I have not gone off the deep end with my food. This is a win. And I think
that's a win too.
Like 5 days into getting no sleep and you had what, one small cheat? Like
I had like two
cheats.
I had a couple cheats. Yeah, but I mean pizza and chocolate, but it was gluten-free pizza.
Boom.
And it was light cheese.
Dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate. So if you're gonna go,
Yeah.
They say go big or go home, but like I'm like that's
not with your cheats.
that's still big for me. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So really, really happy about that.
Yeah,
really
packed my lunchbox every day. Had my healthy snacks with me every day. People were laughing at me because they were like, "Is this healthy?" And I'm like, "No,
no, it is not.
No, you cannot have that entire bag of nuts by yourself. No."
Oh my God, thank you for saying that. I've had so many people. They're like, "I ate nuts today as a snack." I'm like, "Great, how many did you have?" They're like, "The entire bag." I'm like, "That's not good. That's a lot of fat.
That's a lot of fat
and a whole lot of calories."
But anyway,
yeah,
we digress. We're talking about being exhausted. I'm currently exhausted.
Yes,
but it's fine. I'll catch up.
Before we dive into exactly what sort of my sort of agenda is for the day or whatever, I'm talking to you guys about the really key thing that I think is important for your digestion. Or that gave it away a little bit. So we're gonna be working on your digestion for your energy.
Okay, let's restate that because it got a little convoluted there.
Yes.
So for the recipe to increase your energy or to revamp your energy is to work on your
digestion.
There we go.
Words are happening.
Makes a little more sense now.
But before we dive into that piece, I want to hear from you about what you're going to do over the next few days to get your energy back on track after having such a crazy
I love
week.
it when you put me on the spot.
You're welcome.
We sometimes will take a brief 5 minutes to talk about what we're gonna talk about.
We didn't do much of that today.
No, she just threw me right in. So this week is my recoup week. So actually this month is my recoup month. I'm calling it the October Project. Is a super secret, top secret project that I found out I booked late or 2 weeks ago, a week ago or so.
Very exciting.
It's a very exciting project. It's gonna be huge. And so I'm calling it my October Project because I'm not allowed to say what it is, but I'm also deciding to prepare myself to the best of my abilities to make sure that I really put my best foot forward when I show up to said project. Yeah. So this week I am going to restart my Whole30. I've never finished a Whole30 successfully with the reintroduction period and everything. So I keep telling Kat, I'm gonna do it, and then I'll start, and then 2 weeks later I'll be like, oh, I messed up. I had a weekday and a cheat day, and then I messed up. So Whole30 is really strict, and so the big thing is staying hydrated.
I'm so glad you said that. Cause
yes,
that's in my brain.
Staying hydrated.
Drink water.
Just drinking tons of water. You know the crap about drinking tons of water is though when you start drinking more water than what you're used to drinking, you're more thirsty. And that is so freaking frustrating because you're going to the bathroom every hour, but also very thirsty.
Yeah.
It's shit.
Your body is like, wee, bring it on. Yeah. We love this.
Well, this is so fun. Let's swim. So drinking tons of water, eating super clean, and then getting my 7 hours of sleep a night. So those are my action steps.
Yes, it doesn't take a crazy long list of to-dos to kind of get yourself back on track if you have had a week where you have not been getting the sleep that you need. And just really quickly, so you know, a little bit of feedback about the background of what Whole30 is it's basically an elimination diet for 30 days where you're eliminating like all
everything happy
foods.
in life.
I'm just teasing. Happy in life.
I'm just kidding. I don't want to make it sound terrible because honestly, it's extremely beneficial for getting your gut health back together.
It is funny because I used to talk about the Whole30 because that was going to be one of my pieces of talking about it. It would be like step 1 of healing your gut, which I'll give a little bit of background information on what goes on with your gut and what damage happens to your gut and what can cause it and all these different things. And then Whole30 is kind of one of the first steps to start.
So we talked about me being a literal guinea pig for this little situation of getting your energy back or how to get your energy back. So, if your energy is really, really down, my action steps include drinking lots of water, starting Whole30, and making sure I get my 7 hours of sleep. So, with that said, drinking lots of water, that's what you should drink half your body weight in water.
Ounces of
in
water.
ounces of water.
Correct.
So I should be taking in about 60 to 70 ounces of water daily, which is a lot. That's almost a gallon of water a day.
Yeah.
Number 2, 7 hours of sleep. Plan it out. When you ought to just count backwards. When you wake up, plan it out, count backwards, right?
Yep. And get yourself in your bed a half hour before you're supposed to be asleep.
So you can wind down.
So you can wind down. Like, don't try to just go straight from running around chasing the kids and getting dinner together and da-da-da-da-da. And then don't go from that to watching TV to going to sleep.
I was about to say that. Don't have a TV in your bedroom.
Because that basically, like, I think we've talked about this before, but that light, that blue light from the TV, your brain registers that as daylight. So it is not producing the melatonin to go to sleep.
I think we're the same person
We're
now.
the same person at this point. We've just melded together.
Yeah, just all the advice.
So you can just train half my clients and they'll be fine.
No, they would hate me. I'm not as nice as you or as patient. But yeah, that blue light, so the tablet, the cell phone, the TV, all of those things will totally wreck your circadian cycle.
Yes.
So please leave the tablets out. So yeah, I have an hour bedtime routine to help me kind of wind down before bed. It includes taking a shower, taking care of my skin, reading a book or journaling, because I journal every morning, but sometimes I want to journal at night.
Yep.
And then sometimes, honestly, I just meditate before bed. And let me tell you, when you do what I do before bed, you conk out in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's really great. So 7 hours of sleep, but like 8 hours in bed.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So then healing. So for energy, we're talking about healing your gut and how that will help you perk up your energy.
Yes.
So what is leaky gut syndrome and why does that suck our energy?
So let me give you guys a little bit of like a background on how your gut is associated with your energy and what's happening, and leaky gut is a part of that. So basically what it is when you have spent most of your life eating the standard American diet, processed food, sugary food, carby food, genetically modified food, you're basically feeding the really good you're feeding the bad bacteria in your gut while kind of killing off the good. And one of those things in your gut that you're feeding is a fungus that we all have. It's called Candida, but when you consistently feed it with all that crap food, it can overgrow. And when it overgrows, it sprouts these little leg-like things that can puncture holes in your gut, which is so disgusting sounding. I know, it sounds so gross, but don't turn this off thinking like, oh, that's not happening to me, because about 8 out of 10 people have it. So, what's happening when you have holes in your gut, i.e. leaky gut syndrome, is number 1, you're not absorbing the nutrients from your food like you should be because you have freaking holes in your gut. Like, think about it like a bucket of water. You have holes in the water. Like, yeah, the bucket might fill up to a certain extent, but you're losing a bunch of it as it's filling up. So, same thing is happening with your nutrients in your food. And if you don't have the nutrients, then you're not going to have the energy. You're not getting your fuel. The other piece is that, and this is what happened to me, so this is taking it even a step further beyond energy problems, this is a whole other slew of issues, is when you're eating your food and you have leaky gut syndrome, you can actually get food particles that escape into your bloodstream. And when that happens, obviously food is not supposed to be in your bloodstream, so your body starts responding as if there's a foreign invader. So your immune system gets turned on, and what happens is it basically creates chronic inflammation, because if you're just continuously feeding this cycle and you're not fixing it at the source, then it's basically like your body is at war
with itself,
potentially for years. And then, because it's exactly what she just said, your body is at war with itself, it can turn into autoimmune disease. Your immune system is turned on for so long, it starts dysfunctioning and misfiring, and don't think it can't happen to you. It happened to me, and I've been a relatively healthy eater. I've been a fitness girl my entire life, but I still was eating too much of the carby, sugary stuff growing up that it caused those issues, and it went undetected long enough that caused autoimmune disease.
I just met a semi-famous mixed martial artist, female mixed martial artist, that has hypothyroidism.
Yeah.
And that is technically an autoimmune disease?
Well, so hypothyroidism, most people who have hypothyroidism have the autoimmune disease Hashimoto's, but it's not automatic.
It's not
so you can have hypothyroidism without having an autoimmune disease, but more often than not, if you have hypothyroidism, it's because your body is attacking the thyroid.
Yeah, but
so
it's just...
if you have hypothyroidism, get your antibodies tested. And don't let your doctor tell you that you shouldn't do it. Get it tested.
She's had to fight a lot of doctors.
Fight a lot of doctors on this one.
Yeah,
you got to be your own advocate.
And not for yourself either. You've had clients that you've helped them advocate for themselves on seeking their autoimmune issues and finding out that they too are borderline hypothyroid or Hashimoto's or something to that effect because of...
Yeah, I've had a couple of clients who have discovered their own autoimmune disease, and sometimes it's Hashimoto's. There's one time where it was Sjogren's. There's a ton of different possibilities, but when you start kind of chasing that rabbit hole, you start to figure out the answers.
And so a lot of that is due to inflammation. Inflammation is a byproduct of leaky gut syndrome.
Yep.
That's
exactly it.
Leaky gut syndrome is a byproduct of you eating crap.
Yeah, and like I said, you can eat healthy, but still be eating too much sugar and carbs, and those are really the two biggest culprits for feeding stuff like Candida.
Yes.
It really, really loves that stuff. So, step number 1 is I would tell you to do an elimination diet. And I suggest Whole30 because I think it is the most sort of all-encompassing elimination diet. If you want your answers, Whole30 will give it to you.
There's a lot of stuff out there, too, on Whole30. You can buy the books. You can get the audiobooks.
We're not affiliated.
We're not affiliated, no. But you can go on their website, and they have their basic information for free on their website.
Yep.
And then if you want to dive deep into the science of food as medicine and food as the culprit of inflammation, they've got all sorts of books on that too. It's Melissa Hartwig, and what's her husband's name?
Dallas Hartwig.
Dallas Hartwig. I should know that.
Yeah,
Dallas.
I know.
Hello,
really.
Dallas.
Okay,
but anyway, yeah. But anyways, I mean, the program is a knowledge. I mean, they originally started off as Atkins people or keto people.
Oh, I don't remember.
I
don't remember their story, I'll be totally honest. It's been like 2 years since I first did
They were
the
fitness
Whole30.
people also, and they were super fit, but they were tired, and they had knee pain and all this stuff, and they realized that once they eliminated certain foods, that the pain would go away. Because again, inflammation is not just inside your gut, right?
Oh yeah, it can show up in your joints.
joint
It can
pain,
show up in muscle.
yeah.
Shows up in skin. Lord knows it did for me. With acne, like inflammation, it
Which,
can
by the way,
show
your
up
skin
in...
looks really good right now.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a whole other topic. Maybe we'll do a whole day on healing your skin, your cystic acne, because for me, the Whole30 was just the beginning of that. So we'll dive into that on another day.
But an elimination diet of sorts, and you don't have to do the Whole30. There's other
versions.
diets.
Like you can do more mild versions. So Whole30 is basically you eliminate like every inflammatory food for 30 days and then slowly reintroduce them to see what your reactions are. You could do a more simple one, like if you have certain foods that you suspect are problems and you don't feel like you can take away all the foods, you don't think you'll be successful with it, take away one suspect food at a time. Take it away for 2 to 3 weeks. You cannot cheat at all. If you cheat at all, you have to start over.
Takes 21 days, yeah?
21 days is usually around solid. Okay. Yeah, like there's some people who can notice a difference with 2 weeks. I've done 2-week elimination diets and it's okay. 3 weeks is usually solid enough that you'll get a pretty strong reaction. So basically what you do, you take away the food, you do not reintroduce it back until those 3 weeks are up. You reintroduce it back for 1 day, and then you take it out again for 3 days. Mm-hmm. And for those 3 days, you start journaling about different things you're experiencing, different, are you feeling more anxiety? Does your skin break out? Mm-hmm. Is your digestion messed up? Are you exhausted? Like anything that you can kind of pinpoint, you write it down to see if it's something that's negatively affecting your body. And you take it away for 3 days because it can take up to that long for your body to actually have the negative response. And then one thing that I would love to add into that is, and this is the way that I did it. You don't have to do it this way, but this is the way I did it. I did the elimination diet, the Whole30, mm-hmm. but then I also did the Everlywell food sensitivities test, and Everlywell will basically send you the blood test to your home. You send it back, and then they send you your results. Super convenient.
Wait, you took your own blood?
Yeah. So it's this little thing where it's like you push the button and it pricks your finger, and then they teach you how to push the drop.
I was imagining
it's not like an IV. No.
Trying to take your own blood, like
calm
that's
down
a
with
deep
that.
vein. That's a good vein right there. Let's just. Oh my god. Ugh. I just picture you prick. Okay.
No, it's literally a finger prick. You guys do not get freaked out that you're having to IV or something.
Yeah. It just...
So yeah, no, and I'll post a link with a 20% off coupon. And yes, that is an affiliate link. I will kid, but honestly, I sent like 6 people to them before I was like, oh, there's an affiliate link that I could do this with.
That's funny.
But anyways, so the reason to do both is because the food sensitivity test will give you a definitive, like this is the list of the foods that are negatively affecting you and to what extent. So it'll say like these are your more intense sensitivities versus these are more mild. But what the elimination diet does is it tells you what exact symptoms are associated with what foods. So like my blood test told me, yes, you're allergic to gluten and dairy and corn were like my top 3. But the elimination diet told me that the gluten is what was making me absolutely exhausted no matter what. The dairy is what was causing me to break out. The corn was causing my digestive problems. So it's being a detective about your body.
Yeah.
It's not just about figuring out what foods are...
So you're gluten-free and you have a corn allergy. That's like the worst.
I know, because a lot of the stuff that's like swapped for gluten is corn.
Exactly.
I know.
Oh, poor baby.
But there are still, we're living in such a good time, you guys. If you do find that you have sensitivity to something you love, there are so many alternatives.
It's true.
Like, I have made it for the last 2 years with barely a cheat on corn and dairy and gluten. And I don't feel like I've missed out on a bunch of stuff because there's so many alternatives.
That's true. You
like
got
Siete
coconut
chips,
ice cream.
you got coconut ice cream. You got, I mean, just like I'm obsessed with unrefined. If you guys are in Dallas and have knock on
unrefined,
they
gluten-free, dairy-free,
corn-free, nut-free,
vegan. I mean, they
like
have everything
that you could possibly imagine, and their shit is delicious. It's like cupcakes, cookies,
there we go.
breads, pizza crusts,
pies,
pie, like just yum.
Thanksgiving for them, they make a killing on their gluten-free, dairy-free pumpkin pies. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good. Anyway,
there are
options. There are options. And if you don't have a place like that that's ready-made, whatever, near you, there's so many recipes. Whole30 has a recipe book.
Yes.
And then there are a lot of keto recipe books, which I believe keto is dairy-free, gluten-free as well.
No.
No?
No.
What am I thinking? Is it keto that I'm
You're
thinking?
paleo.
Paleo. That's what I'm thinking.
Paleo is not gluten-free. No, yes it is, because paleo is no corn.
Yeah, paleo is
no
gluten-free.
grains. Oh my god, words.
So paleo is gluten-free, dairy-free.
Yes, correct.
That's what it was. Melissa and Dallas figured it out because they started doing a paleo diet.
Because Whole30 is basically an extreme version of paleo.
And then they took it several steps further with like the no beans thing.
Yeah,
and a few other things. But so they started doing paleo first. Yeah. This is why we're not affiliated with them, because we can't even get their stories straight, and we both have read their books. Like, they could not pay us to do a better or worse advertisement for them. But anyways, it's a good program. You should look it up.
No, it really is. And here's the thing. That is step 1. That's going upstream and cutting off the source of the problem. But you still have damage to your gut that you're going to have to heal. And that journey can look different for a lot of people. So I'm going to say right now, I'm going to go ahead and offer you guys a free consultation call where we can figure out what would be a good gut healing plan for you. So I'll post the link to schedule your call if you're interested in that. I can give you a couple of tidbits though. For example, L-glutamine is one of my favorite supplements for helping to heal the gut lining. It basically is it's basically a protein powder almost, but it's like exactly what your gut lining is sort of made of. So it really helps you. I don't know if you have. It's just a white powder. Like, it doesn't taste like anything. You just put it in.
White powders. Gotta be careful with those.
Oh, I got this. No.
I'm just teasing. I'm kidding.
We are kidding about drugs.
Super kidding. We're talking about an elimination diet to
Seriously.
clear. Like, there's no room for anything else.
But
you can't even have corn, okay? That's best. Stop.
I mean, really, just
stop with the
calm
corn.
Down. Just enough.
L-glutamine. I need to try that.
L-glutamine, yes. I'll be honest. So I've heard different things. I've heard L-glutamine and I've heard glutathione, and I don't know which one is better. Experiment with both.
Glutathione. We're gonna have to write this down because I'm like, well, how do you spell that? So I can look it up.
Glutathione. Thione.
Glutathione.
Theon. Th.
She'll make a note somewhere.
I'll make a note
on the blog.
It'll be fine. And I should have prefaced this by saying, check with your doctor before you add any supplements to your routine. You know, don't just take this at face value. Always check with your doctor.
Always do your research.
And don't sue me.
Yeah. Always do your own research. I mean, this is just like a guideline. We're just suggesting. We're just saying what's worked for us.
That's exactly it. These are things that have worked for me. This is what's worked for her.
And again,
maybe
two totally different body types.
Yep.
I'm a bit different in age, a bit of an age difference.
A little bit.
It's like we couldn't be more different,
bodies.
And these are
yes.
body types, yeah. And these are things that have worked for both of us.
Yes.
So
correct. So there's L-glutamine, there's glutathione. There is, a lot of people say take probiotics. I go back and forth on the probiotic thing only because I have read certain things where people are like, oh, well, as long as your gut is damaged, then the probiotics can't really latch on. So, like, heal the gut first and then supplement with probiotics. Mm-hmm. It's not harmful, to my knowledge. So, I mean, feel free to add that in if you want to just, give yourself a little safety net. But
I would say, too, though, I mean, it can't hurt because if we know that your stomach is your second brain,
yeah,
if you're pumping some probiotics in there.
Even if not all of them can latch on, like,
it
even
could
if
help
you get
a little bit.
Yeah.
Give you a little bit of a leg up.
And as you're starting to heal, you might as well go ahead and load them in. So, might as well.
But if you're on a budget.
I was going to say, if you have the budget to do it. Mm-hmm. And also, here's the other piece, and this is why I say it's different on different bodies. Some people, swear by probiotics. For me, I tried both probiotics for years, and I didn't feel any difference, but L-glutamine made the biggest difference.
I'm going to have to try it.
And then some other stuff, if I'm remembering correctly, I think licorice root is also really good for the gut.
Ugh.
I know. Well,
does it taste like what it sounds like?
No. But you can take supplements. Like you can take pill form, so it's good. You don't have to taste the licorice taste.
Ugh. That star of anise,
not
flavor. No.
I like licorice tea. Licorice tea is delicious. No, not into it. No. Okay. And then the other piece is once you've done your elimination diet, obviously you want to continue eating a whole foods based healthy diet, so you're not going back to eating stuff that's going to refuel the problem. So, eating tons of fruits and vegetables, getting your clean protein in, and healthy fats.
When it's Christmas time and you're feeling sluggish because you've had all the breads and all the dairies and all of the celebratory Christmas time foods, going back to a similar Whole30 type diet, elimination diet, something to that effect, will kind of help you clean everything out again.
Yes.
And kind of reset everything to kind of move forward in your energy train.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's something that you could always go back to. You don't have to live that way all the time, but you could always go back to it to just kind of help reset your energy levels.
And I'm like, generally speaking, I'm not a proponent for eat bad, do a crazy cleanse. That's not usually I don't like going on that roller coaster. But it's Whole30 is my one. It's the one thing that kind of breaks a lot of the rules that I have, because it's so about clean eating. It's not about crazy depriving yourself of calories. It's not about juicing all of your food. It's not about only eat raw. It's extreme, but it's not extreme. At the end of the day, it's hard. Really what we should be eating.
And listen, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. There's a reason why I have a difficult time taking it all the way to the 30 days, because as women, we also have the added hormonal adjustments that happen, and mine are extreme. Like, I don't know if we've talked about lady stuff on here yet. Maybe we have. I have extreme hormones. So I have, like, there's PMS, and then there's what I have, which is PMDD. And for 2 weeks out of the month, because I also have like a normally long cycle, but for 2 weeks out of the month, like, I'm like on the seafood diet. Like, I will eat anything. Like, anything. It's bad. And so it's really, really tough to stick to something like Whole30 because you have to keep on top of your labels, make sure you're reading all of the labels, make sure...
You have to be super careful going out to restaurants.
Super careful
like,
going out.
You have to be that girl. Like,
the annoying girl.
Does it have this? Is it cooked with this? Like, yeah.
Yeah, which is why I love going out with Kat, because
Well,
we're the same in that regard. And then I'm like, oh, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's totally, answer her question.
Normal. Yes.
You answer her question because I want to know too. So, get yourself a friend to do it with if you're, if you need that.
Yeah.
But it's not easy. But it's totally worth it.
It's so freaking worth it.
Because you said you found out that you were that you needed to be gluten-free, dairy-free, and then through the blood test you found out you needed to be corn-free.
Well, even through Whole30, I figured out the corn thing. It was that corn was associated with my digestive system more so than anything else. But there was also, like, I'm forgetting them now. Oh, well, okay, that's the other thing. This was the reason that I would pair up the blood test with the Whole30, because there were some things that I introduced back in that I didn't have a direct reaction to, but were actually high on my blood test. So, like, almonds and sesame, I didn't experience anything when I had almonds and sesame, but they showed up as some of my highest sensitivities on the blood test. So that's why you really do want to combine both.
I'm curious about that, because if your body didn't have a reaction, then why is your blood reacting?
Well, because basically it's inflammation. That's basically what the food sensitivity test is testing. Mm-hmm. And just because you have inflammation in the body doesn't necessarily mean that you have a specific symptom associated with it.
Got it. So it's not presenting in any way. It's not
presenting in a specific way.
But it's
causing damage.
Some inflammation. Some inflammation that inflammation leads to leaky gut syndrome. Okay.
Right. And inflammation is really kind of the basis for a lot of disease. Mm-hmm. So just because it's not showing up as a direct symptom right now doesn't mean that, like, if I continued eating almonds and sesame when I had that really high food allergy to it or food sensitivity to it, that could then eventually present as either a disease or a symptom or an allergic reaction
or one day you get anaphylaxis out of nowhere and you're like, why is my face swelling up? Because that's the thing with allergies, is you can never get rid of old allergies, but you can always get new ones.
So, well, interesting. Okay, so this is, and I always go, I'm like, sensitivity versus allergy. I get nervous talking about allergies because I don't want, like, anaphylactic shock kind of stuff. Like, we're not talking about that. But this actually brings up a really good point. You can get rid of food sensitivities. So back in the day, like 2 years ago, when I was doing Whole30 and I was doing all that stuff and I figured out all the foods that I was allergic to, I eliminated them completely for a solid year. And then I did the food sensitivity test again, and a ton of them had dropped either way down, like went from extreme to mild, or they got off the list altogether. Like, technically speaking, according to my blood test, I no longer have a gluten sensitivity. I still don't eat it because gluten can trigger Hashimoto's.
Which you have.
Which I have, but it's in remission and I don't want it to come back. Mm-hmm. So gluten is just like a no-go for me.
Well, so we have to be careful when using them because allergy and sensitivity are not interchangeable.
Right.
But right now we're kind of using them interchangeably. So we probably have to be...
sensitivity. We're talking about food sensitivity.
Yeah, so we probably have to be a little more specific when we're addressing these things. Yes.
Yeah.
So I know I have a gluten sensitivity. I know I have a dairy sensitivity. I know I have a bean sensitivity. That's my thing. Mm-hmm. But the sensitivities can turn into allergies. But you can heal your sensitivities.
You can heal your sensitivities. So
they're kind of like in the swing zone.
Okay, I'm going to say you can heal your allergies. And I'm going to say that because I experienced it. Because when I was a kid, I used to be heavily allergic. And this sucked so bad because I was the kid that actually loved fruits and vegetables. I was allergic to most fresh fruits and vegetables. Like, I would eat an apple.
Are you sure that's not just an excuse?
No, that's the thing. Is that my brother was the one who hated his fruits and veggies. I loved them. Okay. Like, I wanted to eat them. But I ate an apple, my eyes would start to puff up so much you could only see the whites.
Huh.
And my throat would get insanely itchy, like full on allergic reaction. But I eventually outgrew them. Like I had them for years, but I eventually outgrew them. So you can get rid of allergies.
Yeah.
I don't know about the level of anaphylactic shock. Like that's a whole other level of allergy.
Yeah.
Like I said, I want to keep on going back to that because I don't want you messing with like, oh, let me just try this thing that might kill me.
We should just do an entire episode on allergies and the science behind them and what we can find out there in the, in the world.
And I will tell you a little bit about the science, because if you guys are sitting there wondering like, what are you talking about? How could you possibly heal an allergy or sensitivity? So think about it this way. In your gut, and this is going to be a very sort of like simplified version of what's happening.
Like science for dummies.
Science for dummies. So in your gut, you have cells that signal the allergic reaction, where they detect the food and then they're like, wee woo, wee woo, they put the sirens on and they turn the allergy on. But the thing is, if you eliminate that food from your diet for a minimum of 9 months, preferably closer to a year, you've basically given those cells enough time to turn over, and your body now has forgotten the allergy because they haven't been activated during their entire lifespan. So in the next lifespan, basically, it literally is basically like your body has forgotten the allergy.
Interesting.
Yeah. But you have to go through that whole life cycle of the cell, because if during their life cycle you activate that allergy again, you basically, you have to start all over.
Kind of like the Whole30.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we're talking about getting your energy back. And so we've talked about how sleep is important, how being hydrated is important, how cleaning up your diet is important. There are other factors, though, that we haven't touched on that are kind of maybe smaller. Those are the really, really big ones.
Well, like energy, we could go into for days. Like we can talk about hormonal stuff with energy.
Yeah.
We can talk about emotional stuff with energy.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with like borderline depression, you might be feeling an energy slump, even if there's no other issues.
Right.
It could be even, coming down to toxins in your home that are messing with your system. So you want to, try to clean up some of your cleaning products and that sort of thing, and get plants to help clean your air. And again, like I always say, if you are dealing with chronic exhaustion, you're dealing with weight that is really hard to come off, you have cold hands, cold feet, that sort of thing, I always say get your thyroid checked, because thyroid is one of the first things I think of when I have somebody who's like, I have no energy whatsoever, and even though I'm getting sleep, and even though I eat healthy, and even though, get your thyroid checked.
Right. Also, I thought I ate healthy when I first met Kat. Well, not healthy, but just not as bad. And I also had my thyroid checked, and then I realized, no, I'm fat by my own self. Like what I thought was healthy. So that's also relative. Like eating healthy is relative. Like what I think.
This is very true.
So
yes,
maybe journal for a couple of weeks and have a trained nutritionist or health coach,
what have you,
check your food journal, because there might be traps in there that you're not aware of that.
Oh, I've encountered many a person. This is not a judgment thing. This is just so you're aware of, what might be an issue. I've had people who are like, I'll be like, oh, so, how do you eat? Do you eat pretty healthy? Oh, yeah, I eat really healthy. I just eat lean cuisine, like every meal. I'm like, it hurts. It physically hurts me inside. No, guys. No.
That's the epitome of processed.
Yeah, epitome of process. It's like, it just, low calories does not equal healthy. So, if you're wondering if your diet is healthy, you can go ahead and schedule that consultation call with me. Totally free. We can just go over your food and make sure you're not making the mistake of thinking that because it has a low number of calories, or
because it has the name healthy or lean
or natural or keto or what, like
that is actually
all of the titles that make you think like, oh, this is healthy for me.
Yeah.
It's called marketing.
The one that kills me is whole wheat bread.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And like you turn over the label and the first thing that it says is processed grains or processed bread or processed white, whatever.
Yeah.
And like they'll process it and then brown it to make it look like wheat bread. No, I'm sorry. It'll say wheat bread. Anyway, read your labels.
Read your labels, yeah. Basically, look and make sure.
Read your labels.
First of all, try to eat foods that don't have labels. But if you do have foods that have labels, then make sure that the labels are made up of whole foods.
Yeah. And honestly, like, we live in the age of internet now, and Google, you could Google anything. If you don't know what it means on the label, Google it. I mean, it's not hard to just be like, what does this mean? What does dextrose mean? What does maltodextrin? What does...
And also, honestly, if you gotta Google it, you probably don't need it in your body. If you can't recognize it as a food ingredient, you probably don't need it in your body. That's a very easy rule of thumb of, like, if you want to make it real simple, if you can't recognize it, put it back on the shelf.
Right. But if you need to.
But if you need to, that is the option. And Brian and I were talking about this the other day, and this is not, I'm not saying this to be a dick, but I'm saying it because it's freaking real. At this point, with having so much access to the internet and information, free information, ignorance is a choice. Not knowing what healthy eating is a choice.
Making excuses that you don't have enough time or you're still making a choice.
Yes, exactly. I was talking to a girl about joining my Abundant Time and Energy course. Sweet girl. No problem with her. But it was funny because she was like, I really want to do it, but I just don't have time for the course. And I'm like, I'm giving you the solution for not having enough time in the course.
You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make them drink.
I know. It's true.
And everybody's on their own journey, and everybody's, but that's always really kind of...
But it's understand the choices you're making that are creating your reality every single day. And if you're thinking that, oh my God, I don't have energy because this is just what adulthood is like, that's an excuse. That is a lazy mindset. It is, you're making choices that, like, your body was not meant to be exhausted. Your body was not built to be lethargic and tired all the time.
And again, it's a process, right? So...
Oh, wait, this took years.
You're not
years to figure out.
Gonna do it overnight.
No.
I'm still on the journey. I'm still working towards things. I look back now on the 3 years that I've been working with Kat, and I think to myself, wow, I've come a long way in 3 years. But it was 3 years of baby step after baby step after baby step after baby step that now look like a almost complete journey, Well,
and the funny thing is, she talks about the 3 years. I was thinking about this the other day. This is why. So you might be thinking, oh my gosh, 3 years, like, what have they been doing? Like, why is it taking so long? Y'all, this is the reason to get a coach. It took me 15 years to learn the shit that she's learned in 3. Because I went the trial and error route. I went the I am my own guinea pig route. I went the I'm going to figure this out on my own route. 15 years later, and I finally have hormones that work, and a digestive system that isn't jacked up, and skin that's finally freaking clear, and body weight that actually stays stable. Like, 15 freaking years. 3 years might feel like a long time, you guys. That's because you're so used to seeing all of these false
quick
promises
fix.
Of 30 days and you're going to feel amazing.
Yeah.
Fuck off with that. I'm sorry. Like, pardon my language.
Cat used the F word. Oh no!
Like a sailor on occasion.
See, that's why you got to watch it to the end, because that's when we throw in the fun stuff.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
No, she didn't.
I just was naughty. I'm sorry.
But true, it's true though.
But yeah,
and
get some perspective on timelines.
That's
for
really good
what you're
perspective,
trying to do.
actually. Yeah.
But I do want to leave you guys with, if you are feeling a little bit overwhelmed of like, oh, it's 15 years or 3 years or whatever, couple things that you can do to start feeling more energized somewhat quickly. Like, not talking about, healing, but giving your body what it needs to feel good. So we already talked about get half of your body weight in ounces of water per day. Do that for the next week. First glass of water, add a half a lemon to it, squeezed into it. That's a really, really good way to start the day. Get nine servings of produce. That's fruits and vegetables. And I know that may sound super, super challenging for you. I want to give you that challenge. Like, for the next week, do that and see how you feel.
But, like, even some fruit are 2 servings of fruit, right? Like,
potentially, yeah. So basically,
like mango or watermelon or...
A serving is around, like, 3/4 of a cup. Around the size of your fist is 1 serving. So get around 9 servings of fruits and vegetables, which, by the way, smoothies are one of the easiest ways to do that, because you just toss in, like,
But not
2 servings of fruit, 2 servings of veggies, and you're already almost halfway there.
But like true blue, all fruit, all veggies, all green smoothies with maybe some supplements, not like ice cream milk
yes,
situation
exactly.
from like the Froyo place, like that.
Yeah. Make your own smoothies
and
don't add a bunch of crap into it. And when I say 9 servings of produce, that does not mean 8 servings of fruit and 1 serving of vegetables.
That's what I like to do.
I feel like I need to specify that.
Yeah.
Try to at the very least go half and half, if not like 6 servings of green or vegetables and like 3 servings of fruits would be ideal. And then obviously make sure you like guard your sleep with your life. Yeah, I would say
your
those
life
are the top
depends
3.
on it.
It really does. Legitimate. By the way, just quick little side note, and then I promise we will wrap this up. But I just thought that this was interesting. So they have done studies. There is only a teeny tiny percentage of the population who are true blue short sleepers, where they can get like 4 hours of sleep and be totally fine. But you are not that part of the population if you are napping during the day,
catching
if you
up
are
on the
feeling
weekends.
tired, if you're catching up on the weekends, if you are like passing out the second you get in a dark room or a movie theater or anything like that. So if you think that you have quote unquote trained yourself to be able to function off of 4 hours of sleep, no, you have not. The studies are now out. Like, you are not performing at the levels that you think that you are. You're kidding yourself, more or less. Is what I'm not saying it. The studies are saying it. You are kidding yourself if you think that you're functioning at even decent levels. If you have quote unquote trained yourself into sleeping for like 4 or 5 hours, no, you got to get 7 to 8 unless you are that teeny bitty percentage of the population that you actually genuinely feel energized after 4 hours of sleep, and it doesn't ever like catch up with you. So, little fun fact. Anyways.
So where can we find this information in written form?
I heard that. So that
no,
particular
not
study,
that information.
Oh.
This
information. The podcast information. I got
yes.
it. Sorry. But by the way, in case you're wondering about the research, it was from actually the podcast of Rachel Hollis, and she was interviewing Gretchen Rubin, the writer of Better Than Before. So that's where I heard that bit of information. Just so you know. But this information you can find at katspangler.com, KATSPANGLER.com. Go to the blog, and that's where you also will get all the links to stuff like the free coaching calls and my little freebies and all that.
You had your
stuff.
7 days to, what was it? Energy and time and energy. What was it?
Well, I have my Abundant Time and Energy
there it
course.
Is.
Yes,
That's the
that
one.
you can definitely sign up for, or again, you can schedule a call if you want to see if it's right for you. I have my People Pleaser Detox up on there, so that's a freebie training for if you feel like if you're pouring your energy into other people and not saving it for yourself, that would be a good one to download.
That's another thing.
Just saying. And then if you go to Kat Spangler Unleashed on Instagram, you can also find all kinds of fun inspiration on there. And where
and
can
see
they find
pictures
you?
of Kat's hot bod.
Oh, stop it.
Ow.
Just stop.
Ow. You can find me on Instagram at Giovanni Cruz, GIOVANNIECRUZ. Tom. No, like Penelope, not like Tom. There we go.
Get it right.
Yeah, like I'm obviously tired. Like my own tagline I say
Seriously.
wrong. Or GiovanniCruz.com.
Awesome.
So,
I love it.
Yeah.
We will talk to you guys next week. I don't remember what about, but it'll sure to be
We'll
it's
make
sure to be
something
interesting and fabulous and helpful for you
and
guys.
maybe I'll be here. Maybe she'll decide to kick me to the curb for once. I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
But as per usual, feel free to reach out. Contact me if you want us to cover any particular topics for you. If you have any questions or anything like that.
One of these days, someone will talk to us.
One of these days, someone will talk to us, and one of these days, maybe if you guys start reaching out, we can do like a listener call sort of situation.
Oh, that's like real fancy.
It's all fancy and shit, but if we start, so make sure you subscribe and like so that more people can start listening and
I should probably
contacts. Well, okay, so fair point. This podcast is not up yet, but
right now
you're
it's a
listening
YouTube
to it.
thing. Yeah.
Right now it's just YouTube, but once the podcast goes up, yeah, you should probably follow it and subscribe.
Well, there you have it.
All right, guys.
Okay, bye.
Have a good week.
Yay.